Well, welcome to the recording for using the MMF2 software. Now, one thing I need to share with you about this unit, so I'm going to go right here into the interface unit, and then down here, and of course you go through these sections, you know how to do all that, and then when you get to section 9, then it says section E, and then it'll go right into section E. Now, if you go down to section E down here, it gets a different screen. You need to click here to get to section E. So you end up in section E. Now, one thing we're going to do, I'm having you skip this another game activity. So I need to put a note in there about skipping that. But what I want to do for this assignment is show you how to do the basic work with the MMF2 software. So that's going to be in page 6. So Multimedia Fusion 2, so you download this software, and what I've decided, instead of you having to do another game, I will just give you all the points for another game. Those points will be based on this tutorial called Choco Break. So you'll do the tutorial called Choco Break as part of this MMF software. So you'll see what it says. Install the software. Once you install, then a tutorial to create Choco Break, so you'll go through that. So I'm going to show you the steps here. So I click into that, and down at the bottom, then I'll hit run to get this to open, and actually I'll go ahead through this process, but you can see that it's installing for me. And again, this is a 30-day demo. We've talked about that before, and since we're towards the end of the class anyway, I doubt if it's going to run out on you. The last day of the class is March 15th, and you maybe haven't downloaded this yet. So I'm going to show you this, and as you go through this process, you're going to create this Choco Break game, and that will be the full credit for the another game assignment. So the window comes up here, hit next, and this tells you it's a limited version, hit next. Agree to the terms, hit next. Here's where it's going to go to program files, MMF2 demo, next. And mine might say that I already have it since I've installed already. Then I hit start. So now it's installing for me. So you run through this same program or this same activity. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit exit on this. So now we'll go here and go to all programs, Multimedia Fusion 2. And there's Multimedia Fusion 2, so you can see that on the screen. Then click on that, and I'm going to use Multimedia Fusion 2 developer version. Then hit launch. And it says some information here. I'm just going to go ahead and hit continue, but there are other tutorials. You can go to other tutorials here if you want. There's some really interesting ones you can go play with if you want. I'm just going to hit continue. So here we are. My screen started. Multimedia Fusion 2 developer is open, and here's the tutorial you're going to run through. You'll just follow this step by step. So you can see there are 14 steps you'll follow, and the way you'll work this is you'll just go right here. You'll just slide down that screen and create it. So you can see the game you're going to create is this game that has boundaries around it and then a bunch of bricks, and the guy down below, the bricks will pop off of his umbrella or the ball will, and it'll knock the bricks out. So that's the game we're going to be creating. I'm going to work you through about the first 5 or 6 steps to get you going on it. So step 1, you need to follow these exactly. So it talks about having it installed on your computer, and there are 2 places. We're going to be looking at this middle area and the part on the left over here. If you don't see any of the windows as you're working on this, you can always hit View Toolbars. So I would hit top View Toolbars, and you can see the different toolbars there. So I want to make sure Workspace Toolbar is there. And there's Workspace Toolbar. Now we're going to create our new one, so click on the new icon on the toolbar. So as I slide down, you can see here's new right there. So I'll hit new, and now we have our application window. And then it also say that create a frame in the application. So we have all of this. So we have what's called the Properties toolbar and the Workspace toolbar. So two toolbars right here. And here's what's called Frame. So you can see how we're organized here. So you have the storyboard editor window. So our whole display should look like this. And mine is slightly different. And you see what I just did there? I hit under the properties. So now you can see what frame 1 is. So now I can see all this information. So all I have to do is just get the Workspace toolbar out of the way, and here we go. Okay, so now step 2. So the window on the screen is called the storyboard editor. That's this big window right here. It displays the thumbnails of the frames, etc. Locate your mouse on the big 1 button in the storyboard window and click. So right here, so I'm going to click on the number 1. And that opens the number 1 frame. So it opens up the first frame in the frame editor. This is really the first level of the game. Now you see the white space in the middle. This is where we're going to put different elements of the game. This is the playing field. So that's this spot right in here. And this is going to be a dropping game where you have a ball that floats around and hits things. And we're going to use some libraries that are already set up. So this says over here, how do we locate the graphics library? Found the library window in the bottom left of your screen. So you can see mine is called local library. So I click that. And there are a bunch of trees in here, and there's something that says tutorial folder. I don't see that offhand. There it is, right down below here. So tutorial folder, and here's Choco Break. So what this is the library of tools or resources for the Choco Break game. So I clicked on Choco Break tutorial. So this contains all the objects. Like the golden ball is the ball we're going to be using. So we're going to put our first object. So first one is going to be the sugar, the vertical sugar. So if I go down here, here's vertical sugar 2, here's vertical sugar 1. So vertical, of course, goes up and down, so I'm going to grab that and place it right in there. And I can make this window a little bit bigger too. So I place that vertical 1 right in there, just like it says. So I just dragged it into there. Now we're going to put horizontal sugar horizontal at the top. So here's horizontal, grab that, put that up at the top. So you can see, if I move this out of the way, we're kind of building this screen. Then of course we're going to put vertical 2, sugar vertical 2, put that in here, and I'm going to move that around a little bit. Now I want to see, so it doesn't really look like you can change the size of those things. Probably could if I wanted to mess with this a little bit more, but I could kind of slide that over. So yeah, you can see how that is. I could probably fix the size of it over on this left side over here somehow, but I'm not too up on how to do that. So we're framing this game, aren't we? So this is what ours should look like. So actually you can see what they've done is they've brought their side items down a little bit, their columns down. So now you can see how that's set up. So we have that created. And they can be animated, so we're going to run this to see what it does. So there's the run button. Here's the run button right here, run the frame. And I can see how those things are animated. So that's the game we're creating. Close the window, just click the close button, and we're back in the editing frame. Okay, step 4. So step 4, now we need to put the ball in. So locate the ball golden in the library. And let's drag that. So it's going to go to ball golden, find that in here. Here's ball golden right here. Drag that in. So here's the ball. And click run frame, and let's see what that ball does. So right here again, run frame, and you can see the ball does nothing. At this point, we have to tell it what to do. So we have to make sure it knows what to do with movements. So we're going to put the movement properties in. So now we're going to click on movement. So where do we find that? Okay, so our properties window. Oh, we need to click on. Okay, so the ball is active. Now we have our properties window on the left. So you have to make sure if you want to change properties of something, you have to click on it so it's active. So there I clicked on the ball. It's our 4th object. It's active. So now I can get the movement button right here at the left. So I hit the, actually I'm going to scroll down a little bit to see what it wants me to do. Okay. So the ball is active. I'll hit movement, and then it says locate the line that says type, and click on it. It opens up a large box, and let's select the bouncing ball entry. So that's right here. So I selected bouncing ball entry just like it says right here. So it's going to have a bouncing ball movement. So now we're going to do a couple of things. So we can go right here, we can try the movement. You can see how the ball bounces around. And there's speed, there's all kinds of things. Speed is set at 60, which we'll leave. Click the try movement, just looked at that. Deceleration, leave this at 0. Moving at the start should be checked, so let's see. And moving at the start is checked. What else do we have here? Number of angles, leave it at 32, so number of angles at 32. Okay. Randomizer property, add some randomness to the bounces. Sometimes the ball will not bounce in the correct direction if you set it too high. You want to reduce randomness. I'm just going to leave it at 20. I'm not really sure what, it says too high or too low, what that means. I'm just going to leave it at 20. Security, prevent the ball from getting stuck in a loop. So we'll just leave it at 60. I don't see it where it says anything else. Now click on initial direction. There's initial direction. So as a default, the ball goes to the right of the screen. But we need to modify this. So we're going to change it to where it looks like this. So I'm on initial direction, and I click right here, and I get this. So I'm going to clear it all out. And now I'm going to add just these 6. So I want mine to look just like this one looks. So we've taught our ball how to move, and it's ready to be part of the game. So now we're going to move on to something else. And we could go ahead and hit run and see what it does. Of course, the ball, you see the ball, it went off the screen. So obviously we need to fix that. Okay, step 5. Step 5, we define the ball, we can run the frame, and we did. And of course the ball went off the screen. So the ball does not bounce on the sugar objects, does it? So we need to fix that. This is going to be the events editor. So locate the events editor button in the toolbar and click on it. So it's right up here. There's event editor. So I clicked on that, so now I'm in the event editor for new condition. So mine does look like this. New condition came up right here. Okay, I want the ball to bounce when it collides with the vertical and horizontal bars. So we need to tell it to do that. So we have to give it a condition. So that's going to talk about all the conditions right there. So let's create our condition. So with your mouse, click on the new condition line on the screen. So I click on the new condition line. So we're going to right click on the ball. So right click on the ball, collisions, another object. So right click on the ball, collisions, another object. So that means it'll bounce whenever it hits another object. So that's what we did. And now what do we want it to collision with? Sugar vertical. And then hit OK. So now it's going to bounce on a collision between those two items. Now we have to enter the action that will happen when the collision is met. So now we're going to go to the top bar. So you'll see now okay, we want to do it, we have to have that happen, we have to have the action happen. So move the mouse to the empty square under the ball golden, right click, and then bounce. So what we have to do here, if you check this out, what we're saying, when there's a collision between the ball and the vertical sugar 1, right here this is ball golden, we right click, and what we want that to do is bounce. So that's what we've just said right here, is we told it that we want the ball to bounce whenever it hits that vertical item. The ball's going to bounce. So we did the check, so ours looks just like that. So we defined our first event. Now we need to define some other events, don't we? So now we're going to do a new condition. So new condition, locate the ball golden object. And we need to right click, we're going to do a collision again, another object, same thing. And now this is going to be the sugar horizontal. Hit OK. So we just said here now is that when it hits, there's going to be a collision between the ball and sugar horizontal. We're going to do the same thing over here. Right click, movement, bounce. So now it'll bounce when it hits the sugar horizontal. And then of course we want to do, so we did that check mark. And now the sugar vertical 2, we need to do the same thing. So new condition, between the ball, the collision with another object. And what is the other object? Sugar vertical 2, OK. So now we've set up, right here we've set up that between there, when there's the ball hits sugar vertical 2, right click, movement, bounce. So it'll bounce off of that. So now we have set all those parameters. Right? Okay, so that was step 5. Now step 6. Now we have to put a player in here. So to complete your game, we have to add the bat, or something that bounces the ball, right? Which we're going to control by the mouse. So we're going to go back to the frame editor. So click the frame editor on the toolbar. So frame editor. In the library at the bottom, we want to find the player. There's the player. I'll drag him onto the screen. So now we have the player on the screen, right? As for the ball, we have to define the movement properties of the object. Click on it to make the properties appear in the property toolbar. So we're on this guy, right? And you can see his properties over here. And it says, as for the ball, locate the movement tab and click on it. So movement, clicked on it. Select the mouse controlled option in the list. Okay, mine isn't showing. So something isn't. Oh, type. Okay, so type, mouse control. So there's type mouse controlled. And then now click edit movement. So edit movement. And this is the zone right here. This is the movement zone. So you can see that that came up. So what we want to do is we want to make this zone wide. Whoops. So what we're talking about is this right here. So I want to be able to grab these and slide it like this. Mouse controlled up. I'm just making sure I've done everything right. Okay, so there's the mouse movement on that guy. So you can see how that works. You have to hit escape to get out of it. So do okay on that. So again, so we need to get back to the edit movement part. So I'm right here, then edit. So now this becomes live. Let me look at that picture. You can see what they have. So it's just kind of a small area there. So we're going to slide that up. So does that look a little bit like theirs? Let me see. No, we want to slide that down a little bit more. So that sets the area that he can move in. So ours is something similar to that. Maybe bring this down a little bit. There we go. Now we can try the movement. So I'll hit try the movement. And now see, he just goes straight. He doesn't go up very much. Before he went up, I'll hit escape to get out of that. So he tried the movement, and that works. So the mouse pointer is going to vanish when you launch the game. So for now, Alt F4. Now I hit escape and I was able to get out. But what you might have to do if you have an Insight computer, you can hit Alt F4. I found I had to hit, since F4 on my computer, the Insight computer is a red F4 at the top. I have to hold down the red FN function key and the Alt key and then hit the F4 at the top to get out. Okay, so let's go. We're ready to make our game playable. So click on the Events Editor button in the toolbar to open the editor. So frame editor, there's the Events Editor. So we're on the Events Editor. New condition line, open the new condition dialog box. So we clicked on that. You'll see the player object. So that's the player right here, not this player 1, player right here. So we're going to, let's see. Okay, right click on the ball golden. So we're going to right click on the ball golden first, and collision, another object. And what is it going to collide with now? The player. Hit OK. And then, just as before, we want it to bounce, correct? So we'll go right here. Right click, movement, bounce. Now click on the run frame on the toolbar. So let's go up here to run frame. So here we are. You can see I'm moving the guy around. The ball just went past me. I lost it. So we're moving the guy around to hit the balls. Now I have no mouse, right? That's what it said before. So if I hit function F4, it doesn't close it. If I hit function Alt, or if I hit Alt